Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Dig Deep Coaching stage number 6. We're out in workout mode, out on the London course for stage number 6 of this cool workout idea that Dig Deep Coaching has put together, where we replicate each stage of the Tour de France, the critical moments, the winning moments of each stage of the Tour de France. We're going to be going over stage number 6 in this workout out today. Joining me from Dig Deep Coaching is Stephen Gallagher, ex-pro racer. He's hanging out over in Ireland, coming into our virtual studio. So Stephen, good to have you here with us, and it was an exciting race today. For those of you who haven't been tuning in on Zwift Community Live, we are live on Zwift's Facebook today, which is a little different from a few of the other days that we've been doing leading up to here. We've been doing predictions every day, and I haven't heard in our pre-show here prep, I haven't heard much of anything else except for, well, quick warning, spoilers. We're going to have some spoilers today. We'll be talking about the Tour de France, just some heads up on that, but some solid predictions today, or yesterday, on today's stage, Stephen.
Yep. For once I got it right, I think. So...
Yeah. Well, I mean, for those of you who are unfamiliar with what we're doing here, we've actually been pretty right on all the way through so far. So I think we're hitting like an 85% or something like that. But now that we're going to have quite a few more viewers, maybe the prediction level is going to go up just a little bit as well, as far as eventually you just got enough people predicting that you just get it right no matter what, with hundreds of them. But what's going on here with the workout out here today? Again, this is replicating the Tour de France stages, critical moments, and riders, it looks like, have a pretty serious effort ahead of them. Let's take a look at what today's stage was like in the Tour, and then let's talk a little bit about what the workout actually is to try and replicate what happened in the Tour today. So Stephen, what are we looking at here?
So today is another real hard day in Western France. Anybody who done it yesterday will understand that it was up and down. There was a lot of variable of intensity, a lot of variable in your cadence as well, and it was like real short, punchy climbs. Today, the climbs aren't as much before the final part, but at the end, we're really looking at sort of two difficult climbs, like today in the Tour de France, where they had two passages of a Cat 3 climb, where the finish was on the Mur de Bretagne, at the top of it on the last climb. So today we're going to role play some, every stage we role play different characters. So sometimes you're in the early break, you're the sprinter, you're the GC rider. Today you're a climber, so you're going for the stage win. It's going to be an aggressive start of the stage today, so that means there's going to be a lot of top heavy efforts, not so much to get into the break, but just to stay within the peloton, because they're not going to let the early break go very easy. Then we're going to move into steady ride, and we've got a climb earlier on. It's not going to be super hard, but because of the pace in the peloton, and because it's going to be quite a difficult stage with the wind and whatnot, we push the pace on that slightly on that first category 3 climb. Then we taper off a wee bit before we do the final 2 ascents of the Mur de Bretagne. On that climb, it's 2 different scenarios each time you go up it. The first time you hit the Mur de Bretagne, it's going to be quite difficult at the bottom, where you're going to make a lot of accelerations at the bottom of the climb to try and forge ahead and trying to get into that select group for that's going to fight it out for the win. You keep the pace going over the top. You have a bit of recovery between the climb, and then the last time up the hill, it gets really difficult because the pace ramps up and ramps up as you're going for that stage win at the end. So it's more harder at the end of that climb as well. You got to watch out. It's quite steep as well, so we're going to be changing your cadence to reflect the gradients as well that the riders were hitting in today's stage. Anybody who watched how difficult that Mur de Bretagne was. So
you've ridden this before as well. Like, you lived in this area for quite a while, so you've got some experience with. I mean, some of the people watching might be newer to the broadcast today, haven't joined us for all of them. I want to give them a little bit of history, and also let's take a look at what the riders are actually tackling for the warm up here. So a little bit of history about your knowledge of these races, of these areas, of the riders themselves, and then we'll talk a little bit about why we're doing the warm up that we're doing here.
Okay, yeah. So I sort of many moons ago was used to be a professional cyclist as well myself, and actually for about 4 years as an amateur and as a junior, I spent a lot of time living in Brittany, and the Mur de Bretagne is obviously one of the most famous climbs in Brittany. I had the pleasure of racing up it a number of times as an amateur, and yeah, I could say I suffered my way up it many times. So. Unfortunately, I didn't go up it as fast as what the guys went up it in today's stage, but the roads of France are, perfect for viewing, watching a cycle race. It's really punchy climbs. It can be quite windy, massive crowds. It's a real difficult part of the world to cycle in. Beautiful part of the world to cycle in as well. But it actually would lend itself to very aggressive racing. Anybody who watched today's stage will know it was full on, particularly around the 100 kilometers to go, and Quick Step were really putting it in the gutter. So it was a really difficult day today. And again, your workout today is pretty difficult.
It's looking like it. So we're getting a good warm up then for everything that's coming at these riders. It looks like a lot of intensity right up front, like you were saying, trying to be in the winning moves no matter what. Now, 30-second efforts again. For those of you who are wondering about, okay, I haven't been able to do these workouts leading up to this point. It's, we're six stages in. You can still go sign up actually over at digdeepcoaching.com. And these workouts are actually essentially a free set of workouts for the entirety of this month. And anybody who does finish it, there is some prizes that they're giving away at the end of all this. So if you head on over and sign up, you can still be a part of it. But this is the kind of your go-to warm-up. And it's funny because this is kind of like the go-to warm-up I had for racing as well. You want to talk a little bit about why we're kicking into this 360 and then also why it's so focused on high RPMs and maybe not force?
Yeah. So, this warm-up is, I think quite popular amongst a lot of people. It's one I probably would use myself, and I know a lot of our clients would use as well. So it's not so much focused on, long durations of hard intensity, but it's more focused on getting the muscles activated. And that's not always necessary to do with, prolonged efforts. So what we're doing is we're activating the muscles with high cadence, low torque, trying to get your aerobic system activated, bringing your breathing rate a bit up, starting to raise your heart rate up a wee bit, but not having all that muscular going on it, which can lead to fatigue later on in the day. So that's why we've got these small 30-second efforts.
Low torque, not as much muscle fatigue from putting any muscular damage, because that high torque does, you literally create little tears in the muscles that you get repaired later, and you don't want to be doing that early on. So get the heart rate pumping, get the blood moving. We got one more, it looks like, here in just a moment. Now I want to remind people real quickly that you can interact with the broadcast here. Actually, Dig Deep Coaching is hanging out in the Zwift channel right now. And if you want to interact with the broadcast, let's go ahead and see what they're having to say here. You can just comment on the Zwift Facebook post, and we will be able to bring in anything that you are bringing into the broadcast here. We are seeing a couple